How's it going, ladies and bruises? I'm Bobby Sixkilla. Welcome back to Ever 17. We're playing as Takeshi and we are working our way to... We're going to try to do Sora's ending. That's what we're working on, but this whole path is brand new, so it's going to be a long time. Let's get back into it, shall we? Tsugumi still seems like a dick, but less so than last time when we were playing as Kid. I don't know why. Sora said she was going back to the control room to get data, so we went our separate ways. You, Coco, and the Kid, and I went to search around the complex. We decided to check the normal corridors and the emergency corridors above and below them on the third floor. Splitting into pairs where the corridor forked, we agreed to meet back at the fork when we checked the corridor ahead. We did that over and over. We walked down every corridor that we could walk down. I wondered if water was leaking anywhere. I figured the water pressure would send water spurting in through any cracks it could find. Also, I thought there might be other people that had been left behind. According to Sora, the system had told her that there were 6 people in the complex. Still, there was no guarantee that was right. I thought that if we found someone, it might change our situation. The consoles could have been there could also have been a corridor that the broken sensors weren't picking up. I hope there might be a door to the surface that we simply were unaware of. I couldn't throw away that shred of hope. While we were out searching, Sora continued to get into contact with Lemu's central computer, La MMIH, and gather more information. Sora said that she wanted to establish a means of communicating with the outside. We returned to in front of the kiosk. Sora had arrived first and was waiting, but Tsugumi was nowhere to be seen. Tsugumi hasn't come back. We can't just let her run loose. I wonder where she is. Shall I check? We all went to the central control room. We checked the life reading scan of people inside the complex. Even if Tsugumi were moving around, she should still appear in the results of the scan. That is, of course, if she's in the complex. And if she's alive. I managed to keep that thought from coming out my mouth. It only took a moment for a map of Lemu and data from the sensors to appear. There was one fuzzy light on the second floor. That would be Tsugumi. There was a number of lights in the room on the third floor. I figured that was the control room where we were. Oh. What is it? Hey, isn't that strange? Look. The Kid pointed at the corner of the monitor. It indicated a single-digit number. Life reading 6. Watch it closely. Life readings 5. Life reading 7. Life reading 6. 5, 7, 6. 5, 7, 6. Oh my, you're right. I wonder what it could be. Sora fiddled with the console, but the number on the monitor continued to fluctuate. The number changed every few seconds. But even while the life scan numbers changed, no new lights appeared or disappeared. Maybe there's someone else beside us in Lemu. If the number really is supposed to be 7, that's what it would mean. Don't you think we should go look for that person? I mean, they could be in trouble. We have to help them. Hang on, Kid, calm down. For a while, all of our eyes were glued to the changing numbers. Watching them change was unsettling. Finally, life reading 6. The monitor settled on the number 6. The light around the second floor was moving around slowly. The 5 lights on the third floor were all in one room, unmoving. Perhaps it was just because of a malfunctioning sensor? The cause is unclear. Would you like to see what else we can find out? Nah, Tsugumi's on the second floor and there are 5 of us here. The number is 6. It's probably right, don't you think? But, well, I figure if we go look around a little more, we'll find out soon enough. Yeah, alright then. So, do you all want to head to the second floor? I thought it was best if we actually took the situation with our own eyes. We climbed to the top of the long emergency stairs together. In the end, we didn't find anyone else on the third floor. We didn't see any routes that looked like they might lead outside either. Sora told us there was no schedule for the communication systems to be back online. If we could look at the information displayed on some of the MMIH terminals, which were set in some attractions and in the corridors, but we couldn't operate them in any way. The cause for this was unclear too. The fact that there were no leaks on that floor was our one saving grace. We arrived at White Stock, the second floor. Sora gave us 30 minutes of free time. That still didn't mean we could go running around as we pleased, so we decided to randomly hit some of the rooms and search them. Sora held out her hands in front of her, and a holographic window appeared. Unlike the third floor, all of the scanning sensors on this floor seem to be functioning normally. This floor appears safer as well. Oh, Tsugumi is on this floor. She seems to be walking in the vicinity of the elevator. You can tell that? Yes. I will work in the security office while monitoring everyone's activities. If a problem arises, I'll announce it via the intercom. And if something happens, please contact me immediately. Alright, okay then. Let's split up and meet in the security office in half an hour. Okay. Okie dokie. Bow wow. Sure, whatever. After closing the holographic window, Sora went into a room a little ways down the corridor. Apparently that was the security office. Everyone headed out in a different direction from the corridor intersection. I took my PDA out of my pocket and pushed the button. It was recharged and the backlight was working without a problem. I reset the time. After that I tested it a number of times, but it didn't seem to be able to make a call or go online. Maybe I ought to give up using this and get in touch with the outside. I put the PDA back in my pocket. I had 30 minutes left. I was trying to decide which area of the park to visit first. I headed to the room with the attractions. There was a carousel there. Only instead of horses it was set to a dolphin theme. It looked like its official name was the Dolphin Carousel. With no visitors around, the ride seemed a little spooky and very lonely. Even the dolphins themselves looked sad. Whoa! Suddenly a happy melody started and the ride began to rotate. Of course no one was riding it. All of a sudden, it no longer seemed so lonely, but that much more spooky. What is this? Watch out, this place is haunted. Even thinking about it gives me the creeps. Then from somewhere I heard someone snickering. You came skipping over to me. Hey Takeshi, when did you get here? Looks like you're having a lot of fun. But it is fun, isn't it? Doesn't it make you happy? I always wanted to give this ride a whirl once. You pointed to the merry-go-round. Don't just turn it on without any warning. You always give me a heart attack. You surprised the heck out of me. I shook my fist at her. Damn you kids! You might have been exaggerating a little, but... Takeshi, how can you be scared of a silly pod of wooden dolphins? You looked at me sideways and grinned at me mischievously. Nobody's supposed to be here in the theme park. It was like a horror movie. Geez, you're such a chicken. Well, you're wasting energy by turning it on too. What if there were a blackout? And we've no idea how long Lemu's backup power is good for. Besides, everyone knows that you should save energy. So you're not only chicken, but you worry a lot too. What are you talking about? It's common sense. Oh, Takeshi, so you don't know. Next she held out her palms in feigned exaggerated surprise. This Lemu doesn't get any of its power from outside. It's all generated inside this complex. Down more than 300 feet underwater on the ocean floor are thermal seafloor vents. Basically hot springs. So Lemu takes hot water from there and uses it for steam. The power of that steam is used to turn the turbines, and that's how we generate our power. While Lemu is a theme park, it is also a closed cycle plant and a test case for self-sufficient power generation. And that's all memorized from the new employee manual. I see. I'll explain it in that kind of depth and all you can say is, I see. I mean, what a wonderful explanation, you're a model employee. Takeshi, that sure was a sexy scream you let out when the dolphins started moving. You were scared, weren't you? I think I'll tell everyone about it. Do what you want. Then again, maybe you shouldn't. The dolphins had stopped moving of their own accord. You explained that the ride ran for about 3 minutes each time before shutting off automatically. We leaned against the fence surrounding the dolphin carousel. So I only work here part-time during the holidays. Yep. I started at the end of April. And have been staying here. This is my 4th day. And then out of the blue you get this. Pretty rough. Takeshi, how many times have you come to Lemu? This is the first time. Huh. Then I've only got a 3-day head start on you. You laughed happily. She was sure cheerful. I had to respect her unflagging optimism and energy. You're tough. I mean, this situation is so depressing that it doesn't seem to faze you. No, I'm really not. It's just easier. I said it earlier, didn't I? Would you rather I get depressed? I think it's better to laugh. You're right. That's all we can do. And then she laughed again. I tried to force a smile. Whew. You stretched like a cat. And she sat there and hugged her knees. I followed suit and sat down next to her. To tell you the truth, I came to work here because I thought my dad might be here. Your dad? Actually, my father worked in the Research and Development division of Lemu. Research and Development? Well, he worked on a computer program. It's the hologram that Sora uses, the MMIH terminals, and the complex control system. I don't know the details. He worked on all of it when Lemu was first being built. Of course, he didn't do it alone. He was one of the members involved in developing the project. Huh, is that so? But my father disappeared one day. What? He just went missing. When? He's been missing for as long as I can remember. It was when I was 1 year old? 17 years ago? 17 years ago. So you don't remember your father? No. I've only seen pictures and movies of him. I don't really have any memories. Everything I just told you I heard from my mother. But why? Why did he disappear? If I knew that, I wouldn't have come here. But the only clue to what happened is probably here. The last time my father was seen was in Lemur. So I thought that if I came here, maybe I'd find some clue about my father. It seems like my mum has already given up, so I can't count on her. My mum seems to think my dad is already dead. Dead? The word dead had a heavy ring to it. But you know, I believe that he is alive somewhere. He has to be. He just went missing. They never found his body. I heard that some of my father's research is being used on the new programs, on some of the latest attractions. There has to be a clue somewhere in this place about the work my father was doing. Well, the original. The attractions are already underwater. After that, we lapsed into silence. I didn't know if I should say something to her. I tried to think of what to say, but I didn't hit upon anything. Suddenly you stood up. I'm kind of in the mood for some music. Something light and fun, if you know what I mean. So I think I'll get the dolphin spinning again. Takeshi, why don't you finish looking around? With that, she darted away. Hey, you? The dolphin started spinning again. You didn't come back. It looked like she disappeared to the corridor behind the merry-go-round. I guess I'll get out of here. It was as if the dolphin saw me off. I left the room behind. Dolphin carousel, situation normal. Okay. Adjacent to the corridor was a little room for visitors to rest, as well as a shop selling theme park goods. There was a sign with the Lemur mascot on it. And that was where I peeled that mascot costume off the kid. That lemur thing called Mew Mew. In the shop were those lemur stuffed animals, next to all kind of keychains, hologram pendants, seafood snacks and other stuff, as well as lemur stuffed animals. The kid was sitting on the bench next to me. He wasn't really looking at anything, but his gaze seemed fixed. He just kept staring at the ground. I expected to see a hole open up in the ground he was staring at so intensely. He had his hands on his temples. How's your headache, kid? What's the matter? Did you find something? Or do you remember something? Who are you? I just told you a bit ago. I introduced myself. I'm Takeshi. Takeshi Kuranari. Oh, is that right? This is... What am I doing here? Oh, great. It's that amnesia thing. The kid shouldn't even remember what he had just said. He just moved from one topic to the next, forgetting the last. This is the marine theme park, Lemur. Something happened and we're trapped here. Lemur? What do you mean trapped? That's something I'd like to answer myself. And who are you? Takeshi Kuranari. Takeshi Kuranari? Takeshi means samurai in Japanese. Maybe you should start taking notes, you know. Keep track of my name and other people. Where we are and stuff. Notes? Yeah, maybe I should. He was never that bad on his route, Jesus. Looks like you understood what taking notes means. Take good ones, even when you're eating. And if you can remember, you can make a memo of your name too. I gave the kid a memo pad and a pen I just filched from the kiosk. Thanks. Hey, can you tell me what year it is? You forgot that too. Yeah. It's 20... what year is it? I searched around in my pocket. The entrance ticket stub was crumpled and stuck to the back of my PDA. Oh, that's right, it's 2017. Take notes. Write it down. Okay, 2017. He was taking it down. It looked like he hadn't forgotten how to take notes. So why'd you want to know the year? Yeah, kind of. Kind of? I thought that if I'd heard the year, then I might be able to remember at least my birthday. I see, come to think of it, you don't even know how old you are, huh? No. By the looks of it, I'd say you're not a day over 42. What? Surprised the kid felt his face. Haha, I'm kidding, relax, there's no way. You're probably in the neighborhood of 14 or 15. If you're 18, then you got a baby face. Geez, don't tell me you forgot your own face. Face? If you're worried about it, go take a look in the mirror. You could sketch a self-portrait, in case you forget later. Oh yeah, maybe I will. Jeez, he's got it rough. But his serious expression relaxed. That at least was good. Alright, well I'm gonna get going. When it's time, you come to the security office. Like, the security office? Where's that? And where's this again? I'm sorry, I really don't know. That's alright, I understand. If you don't come, then I'll come looking for you. Okay, thanks, Takeshi. Hey, you remembered. Takeshi's your name, right? The kid had been taking notes, and sure enough, there it was. My name, Takeshi, on his pad, but spelt wrong. Limbo kiosk, situation normal. I don't know if I'd call it normal. Sora had said that she'd be working in the security office, but I wonder what she'd be doing there. Besides, she was the only one that had been doing desk work the whole time we've been trapped. I imagine she'd be getting a different kind of tired from what we got walking around. Mentally tired, maybe. As I was thinking that, I knocked on the security office door. Hello, Sora, you there? Wait, this metal door is so thick you couldn't even hear me if you were. I pushed the button for the intercom on the panel next to the door, but Sora didn't reply. I wonder if she isn't in there. The door wasn't locked, so I pushed the open button, and it opened. The security office was small, and it was dirty. The front wall was packed with monitors. They were all stained dark from cigarette smoke. Ashtrays were stacked up like it was normal. And there was a huge sign plastered on the wall that said no smoking. I recalled the sloppy clubroom back at college. It had 25 years of history, being only used by guys, and I couldn't help but chuckle. But I restrained myself and kept looking. Sora wasn't there. Sora? Hey Sora, where are you? I didn't think you were the type to go running off without telling anyone. I took another step inside the room. Yeah. What? All of the windows in the wall monitors opened and closed. Takeshi, when did you get here? For some reason the voice sounded like it came from the shadow of the desk. It was a blind spot and I couldn't see Sora. So you are here, Sora. I thought you'd probably be all stressed out from the work and situation, so I came to take a look. What are you doing in that weird place? I approached the rear of the desk as I talked. Oh no, Takeshi, no, please don't. Huh? I'm busy right now. I couldn't see her face, but she sounded embarrassed. If you don't mind, can you wait outside for a little bit? She spoke hesitantly. Oh, are you changing? I'm sorry. No, not exactly, but I suppose it is something like that. Takeshi, you aren't going to change? If you don't mind employee work outfits, the changing room is directly behind this room. Just turn the corner of the corridor and you'll find it. Nah, I'm alright. I'm just a little damp and uncomfortable, but I'm used to it. I see. I'm sorry, but I'm still working and I need to concentrate, but I'll be done by the appointed time. I'm sorry to bother you. I'll go look around a bit more. Okay, good luck. Thank you. During our whole exchange, Sora was hidden, and I didn't see her. I waved in Sora's direction, though I figured she couldn't have seen me, and I headed for the exit. Hey, it's not good for you to stay cooped up in here. Take a break once in a while. I said it without looking back. Okay, but please do not worry about me. I like my work. If I really get into it, I can go for days without sleep just fine. Sleep without... no sleep for days? That's insane. I didn't really understand what she meant, but I suppose she's probably really into her job. I imagine that system engineer was probably just an occupation that drew interesting types and felt satisfied with that. Security office situation normal. None of these places have been normal. I took the PDA from my pocket and checked the time. It was 17 minutes until the time Sora had set. I wonder where I should head next. I continued to the next corner in the corridor and hung a left. I went in the far door, which was open. Huh? Where am I? I'd been aiming for the elevator, but wound up somewhere else. The sign said Qual. I had no idea, no clue what that meant. Reading the explanation, I learned that this was the gondola in the shape of a jellyfish. I wasn't particularly in the mood for a ride. I had checked to see that there was no damage to the floors or the walls, and left. The elevator was next to the jellyfish gondola. Oh, Tsugumi was standing there silently. She was in front of the closed elevator doors with a stern look on her face. She always has that look on her face. So this is where you were. It looked like Tsugumi had noticed me, but she didn't reply. Her eyes stayed fixed on the door. This elevator doesn't go up to the surface. I was reading a nearby sign. It says it goes to the floating island in Cell Null. To go to the floating island in Cell Null, we should use the elevator in the center of the floor. Hey Tsugumi, just standing there isn't going to make the elevator come. I know that, Tsugumi finally answered me. I know because I just saw it. Saw what? The elevator. As soon as she said that, she placed her hand on the closed elevator doors and started prying them apart. The door was stopped half open. I thought it might be broken. Tsugumi looked inside. See, the elevator is stopped on the 3rd floor. Scared, I peeked in. Oh, that's the one we rode down in? It's still there from when we escaped. A little box in the abyss. The elevator was about 20 yards down. I thought that the floors were fairly far apart, but I didn't realize actually how far. Whoa. Tsugumi suddenly gave a little push on my shoulder from behind. Don't push, what do you think will happen if I fell from here? If you fell, I think that you would die. Most definitely. Tsugumi said it without a trace of emotion. Geez, why do you want to go scare me? Try and scare me. You're just a coward. Well, you're just an asshole, Tsugumi. Tsugumi pulled on the doors, putting them back in their original position. Just to be sure, I tapped on the elevator button a couple of times. There was no response. The lamp didn't light up. Doesn't look like it's getting any power. Yes, and the elevator shaft is warped, so even if it was getting power, it probably couldn't move normally. That's right, this elevator is useless. After that, Tsugumi went quiet again. Silence was the rule for a while. Tsugumi rarely talked. She only said the minimum necessary. I thought that maybe she was trying to be careful of me for some reason. I wondered what it could be. I wanted to know. Hey, why don't you tell me what happened? It's got nothing to do with you. That might have been true, but still, it's got nothing to do with me? It's got something to do with me. Hey, you know something I don't? Something like what? Like about this accident? Like maybe something to do with the reason you're all quiet. Accident? This wasn't an accident. It was planned. What makes you say that? Huh? You're not surprised? Tsugumi gave me a strange look. You feel like something isn't right too? Well, maybe, I guess. Like everything is just too neat. We can't communicate with the outside and our escape routes are all closed. But we've got electricity and the air conditioning still works. It's almost like someone trapped us here on purpose. Huh, I guess you're not as dumb as you look. Tsugumi's expression loosened into a slight smile. It was a provocative smile. What do you mean by that? I mean exactly what I said. You don't look that smart. What? This chick. I'd love to tell her what I really think of her. That thought ran through my mind, but I thought that could really make me look stupid, so I resisted the urge. This is a trap. Tsugumi's expression returned to normal. And you probably aren't going to get out. No, not just you, but everyone else as well. All four of them. You're all the same. Huh? Well, what about you then, Tsugumi? I suppose I could die in a place like this. It wouldn't all be that bad, I guess. Tsugumi looked upward. The ceiling was covered with artificial materials. It felt oppressive. She laughed again. And then she disappeared down the corridor and I was alone. Jellyfish gondola, qual, situation normal. Elevator out of order. Infirmary. I arrived in front of the infirmary. While this was a theme park, it was also deep in the ocean and had other facilities. Limbo's atmosphere was maintained using a mix of gases and air pressure different from the outside world. It seemed that it could make some people feel ill. I reckon that was the reason this room was so large. Beyond the huge sliding door was a room decked out elaborately in shiny new medical equipment. I thought it could have something to do with Limbo's sponsor being a major pharmaceutical company. The room was so clean and white it was nearly blinding. There were two normal beds and one that looked like it was for surgery. There was also a huge machine attached to one of them. LMRI was written on it. I didn't know what it was, but it kind of looked like it was some kind of scanner. I saw a shelf on the wall filled with medical tools and medicine. It was probably in case somebody fell ill or got injured here. It wouldn't be possible to move anyone outside, so they would have to be treated here. Yeah, I don't think there's any way out now. I was getting used to surprises, but the voice startled me. I didn't know who was talking, but somebody sure was. Everybody? Help? Did you come to help? It sounded like Coco. But I didn't know who she was talking to. Couldn't tell where they were. Maybe she's talking to her dog. But it's probably impossible. There's no way out anymore. What was she saying? I wondered if something bad happened to Coco. I carefully inched toward the rear of the room. I noticed a squarish hole cut out of the floor. I peered down inside. Inside there was a small elevator, stopped. It appeared that there was another room directly below the infirmary, and the voice was coming from there. I pushed the button. When the lift came, I jumped in. It descended slowly and silently. I arrived below. I noticed the hatch there was slightly ajar. Liar. Because I eased closer and opened the hatch. Who are you talking to? Coco jumped as if she'd been stung. She was sitting on the bed. Nothing looked out of the ordinary. Oh. Takepyon. Take Pion? Yep, you're Take Pion. Huh? Pion Pion Take Pion. Safe place, Poco Pon. Yeah, you got it. I know the Nineko song 17. But it's not Pion Pion. It's Poco Pon, right? Yes. But, huh? Coco? Coco pointed to herself as she said her name. Takepion. And she pointed at me. And Pee-Pee is 3 years old. Woof. A puppy face peeked out from under the bed. Nice to meet you. Oh, nice to meet you too. But haven't we already introduced ourselves? I returned upstairs with Coco. So you're calling me Takepion, is that it? Yep. Woof. Alright, I got it. So who are you talking with, Coco? What? Wasn't someone just in that room? No, nobody was there. I was just playing around with Pee-Pee. Pion Pion Takepion. Whatever. I didn't think Coco would lie to me. There wasn't anyone else around. Infirmary situation normal. You keep saying that, but it really didn't seem that way. There was a room with no sign indicating what it was for. It caught my curiosity and I decided to have a look. It appeared it was a warehouse of some kind. There were loads of boxes made of reinforced plastic all piled up. There was a pushcart and boxes too big to carry, and some long and narrow that a person could just hold. There were all kinds of marks, symbols, and letters on the boxes, and I couldn't make sense of them. There were a bunch of round carbon capsules and drum-like looking objects. I wondered what was inside them. I figured I didn't really need to know. There was a hissing noise coming from somewhere. Looking for the sound that led me to an air conditioner that was in bad shape but still working. On the room ceiling was a crane complete with guide rails. One container was still suspended from above. It looked like it had been abandoned in the middle of work. No one had any time to clean up. Everyone had fled all at once. Hey, is anyone there? I called out but nobody answered. There's no reason anyone would be here. There was no reply. Warehouse situation normal. That one actually was normal. Now, I took my PDA from my pocket and looked at the time. Oh no. We were only 2 minutes late, but still we were late. I jogged toward the security office. Coco and Pee-Pee were close behind me. We went in through the sliding door. Takeshi, you're late. You was standing like a guard in the narrow entranceway. The kid was next to her. Yeah, I got here a little before you. Sorry, my bad I was late. You know that in a group, and in our situation, we have to be punctual, right? Don't get so mad, it's only 2 minutes give or take. But 2 minutes could make all the difference in the world. I was late too. Oh, Coco. You didn't get lost or have any problems. You're alright? Yep, I'm fine, I came straight here. Oh, that's good. You're sure treating her a lot different than me. Well, everyone made it here in one piece, so that should be sufficient. Sora looked up from the MMIH terminal and smiled. She walked toward us. So everybody's here. What about Tsugumi? I'm here. Tsugumi was leaning against the lockers on the far side of the room. If you found out anything new, I'd like to hear about it. Did you? Oh yes, I'll tell you. First, there are a few things I want to review. Sora gave us a lecture about the structure of Limu. Limu has 3 layers below the ocean's surface. Ersteboden's white stock, Drite stock. There are nearly 56 feet, 17 meters between each floor. If you go down a floor, then you go almost 56 feet, 17 meters deeper. Thus, the third floor, Drite stock, is located at around a depth of 167 feet. Outside of Drite is a total of 6 atmospheres of pressure, 5 atmospheres of water pressure and 1 atmosphere of air pressure. Even if hypothetically you were to suddenly go out into the ocean from Drite, your lungs would be crushed to about 1/6 of their size, and approximately 5/6 of your lungs would be flooded. You would likely die in a matter of minutes. I've got a question. Go ahead. I've heard that skin divers can dive up to a depth of about 30 meters. Didn't somebody just tough out the water pressure on the way up? The current world record for freediving is around 492 feet. With an aqua lung and pauses along the way, probably just about anyone could dive around 115 feet. However, the air sent to your lungs would be highly pressurized gas, but with skin diving, they don't stop to breathe along the way. Amateurs can't make it past 65 feet. Wow, is that right? And there's one other important thing. Even if you could withstand 5 atmospheres of water pressure, could you really swim that over 167 feet to the surface? You making fun of me? Hey, I may not look it, but in high school I swam a mile. But aren't you talking about swimming on the surface? Swimming 51 meters across something is nothing like swimming 51 meters up something. I'm talking about 51 meters in height. It would be the equivalent of swimming a 15-story building. I'm satisfied. Thanks. Swimming a 15-story building, that was insanity. Even from Zweitstock at a depth of 34 meters, that'd be about 10 stories. Just climbing that would be a bear? And besides, how would one get outside of Lemieux in the first place? Yeah, you're right. That's something that just guts alone couldn't get you through. I nodded. And the ocean is pitch black. It would be suicide. That is correct. There is something else I want to say, and it is an announcement. I'm still working to gather information and reconnect Lemieux's communication network with the outside. However, all cable, radio, and network functions are down due to malfunctions, physically severed cables, or flooding. I cannot provide an estimation of when we'll be in touch with the outside. Sonic communication to the outside is also down. Therefore, I've not been able to dispatch an SOS. That concludes my report. 2 hours had passed. There was no sign of help. If there were people on the floating island, the least they could do is send someone to check on us. I was trying to be upbeat about things, but with the first floor flooded and the partition shut, no one was going to be coming through here. And coming through the ocean, that seemed even more impossible. The flooding of Lemieux had disrupted the flow of the currents around it. It would be hard for a diver or small submersible to get anywhere near it. We left behind the security office that reeked of smoke and gathered in front of the souvenir stand. Ready, go. Yeah, buff. Yeah, that's another win for PP. I just finished my 34th match against PP, and I'd lost 34 times. That was a pretty one-sided affair. Is there any way that PP could lose? Oh, are you making excuses? First off, you're the one who's making PP's face all funny. I can't make faces that crazy by myself. Well, there's no other way to do it. PP can't make faces alone. Woof. Besides, I don't know how to make a dog laugh, so it's not really fair. Well, that's just something you have to get used to. I wonder if it really was. I wondered if it was really getting used. If I was really getting used to it. PP laughs when he's happy, right, PP? Woof woof. Well, I'll just have to admit defeat. Kid, you want to take my place? Me? Yeah, I'm begging you. I'll be the referee. The kid had been talking with you, but he came over. Alright, game time. Don't be too hard on me. Oh, what game are you playing? It looks fun. Sura, who appeared taken with the game, also came over. It's a staring contest. K9 versus human. Well, that seems pretty incredible. Sura covered her mouth with her hand and giggled. Actually, PP is incredible. I think I'm going to have nightmares about this. I shuddered. And now, in their first contest, we have the champion, PP, versus the challenger, the kid, facing off in a face fight. I want to get underway, but first, let's hurry up and do this. Well, I think I need to decide what we're going to call the kid here. Is Kid okay? What do you think? Well, I don't know. We can call him Kiddo. Sure. Kiddo, Kiddo, Kiddo. Kiddo, huh? You want me to call you that too? There's got to be a more normal name than that. John. That's a little random, but I like John Doe. Don't you think that'd be a little rude to all the people named John? Well, it's only for a little while, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Takeshi, I thought you wanted a more name-like name than Kiddo. Well then, Coco can think up another name. Kiddo's other name could be Pablo, Diego, Jose, Francisco, de Hora, Juan, Novichinko, Maria de los Remedios. Oh my god, it goes on. Siburiano, Cretiano de la Santashima, Trinidado, Luis Picasso. That's too long. Anything longer than Yubisei Harukana Tanaka is out. Hey, Takeshi, don't go blurting out my full name. You, who had been standing over by the shop, came walking directly toward me. Ah, what a pain. In honor of the mascot, I name you Earl Muan of Hamburger. That's crude, Takeshi. Woof. Well, let's see. Why don't I think of one? How about Melos? Why Nomino? No memo. Well, he's got no memory. Nah, it's bad luck to name him that. Sorry, I didn't mean to be so direct. What are you all bickering about? Sugimi cut in. If we come up with some random name, it'll be a hassle when he remembers his real one. He's a kid. So why don't we just stick with kid? The conversation had come full circle. The light suddenly went out and flashed back on. Alright, we're out of time. Something's happening, but we're out of time, so we're going to have to wrap it up. And in the next one, I guess we will see what's happening this time. Obviously, the place is falling apart again. Oh, maybe this is when the generator goes down, so we'll have to go fix the generator. We'll see what happens. A lot of that was the same dialogue, but in different locations. I'm going to leave it in anyway, because it is a whole new sort of story thing. There is bits and pieces that are new, it won't let me skip them anyway with the skip button, so I'll just leave it. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you in the next one.